Hey there, so today we have another video, and this is actually pretty something interesting and a little bit different. So I just had a dinner at Momofuku Ssam bar with a special guest, David Chang, celebrity chef. And so it's gonna be a long video. You can skip it through ahead if you want to find different parts of the video, but we'll be talking about how A, I got into Yelp, B, this really awesome speech that David Chang gave, and then we're gonna go dig into the dinner. And actually the speech part of it has some analogies to beer, so if you wanna stick through that, please do. So to first start off, it's around 2008, I'm going to NYU and living in, arguably the greatest city in the world, and there's so many opportunities for restaurants and things to try. So Yelp had been relatively new and started, and I want to try all these new things, so I started using Yelp, and then I started writing on Yelp. And it was really fun doing that, and being a young 19, 20-year-old, trying all these new restaurants was really fun, and reviewing them, and that certainly analogizes to how I got into craft beer, because you have trying out new restaurants and writing about them, and then trying all these new beers, writing about them on BeerAdvocate, and then finally doing the YouTube channel. But I've been Yelp Elite and writing all these reviews for about 8, 9 years now. So really fun stuff. And actually around that time is when Momofuku Ssam bar opened about 10 years ago. So I live in the East Village. A couple blocks down was Momofuku, and I certainly saw the explosion of Momofuku noodle bar and milk bar and all these cool things. So really fun to go back to a restaurant that was where I lived and sort of experience that kind of 10 years back and forth kind of thing is really fun. But so I got invited to this awesome dinner. Thank you so much, Ruggie from Yelp, for inviting me, and got to go to a dinner at Momofuku Ssam bar. I was really excited, stepped in, not quite sure what to expect. So this event was for the elites that have been on the website for about 10 years, and it's about 30 people, family style, and holy smokes, David Chang is there. I mean, huge geeky, foodie, celebrity appearance from him. So he was behind the kitchen and all. And if you don't know who David Chang is, please look him up. I mean, he is one of the most famous celebrity chefs out there. So he's been around, just Google him. I'm not gonna give you his resume, but really cool stuff. We started off with some really cool apps. Really nice starter cocktail with the sake, lime juice, shishito pepper, kind of spicy, sour cocktail kind of thing. Really worked well with this sardines on toast starter that we had. But then we moved on to, we moved on to a speech from David Chang. So thank you so much, David Chang, for offering such an honest and amazing speech. So obviously it deals with Yelp, and it's so generous of him to offer this dinner to us. And he's done it in other cities, including Washington, D.C. and Las Vegas. And it's really, I guess, a thank you from him to Yelp. Obviously, early on, he didn't much like it or had some strong opinions about it. And obviously, people certainly have opinions about Yelp. But he has now certainly embraced it, and I would definitely agree with that, because he was there at a time where, I mean, before him, it was the New York Times, a few blogs, and that's how you find out about your restaurants. You get the Michelin star rating, and there's not really much to hear about the criticism of restaurants. And then all of a sudden you have social media, you have Yelp, you have blogs, and the explosion of the Chang and Momofuku empire definitely was part of that kind of movement. So now you have a democratization of food criticism. And so now it's so much bigger than that, because if you go to a dry cleaner or a movie theater, you might look it up on Yelp. But now he made a great analogy that back in the day, it could be a mom and pop kind of restaurant, and you'd give a handshake to the patrons that you have. But you can't do that at a lot of these high volume restaurants. So now you can reply to a Yelp review, compliments or criticisms. You can at least say, thank you for coming in. We'll take that compliment or criticism and offer something about it. And I think it's really fun, because it does sort of analogize to beer in the sense that we have BeerAdvocate and Untappd offering all these ratings for people. And it's great that now we can, use these ratings to make our decisions. But I think in craft beer, we don't have a New York Times or kind of like a wine critic kind of way to look at things. And that's pretty interesting, and it'd be obscenely pretentious for me to think of myself as that. But what I try to offer is something at least where you have the masses offering your rating, and then this way I can offer a YouTube rating. And if you tend to like my ratings or what I think about beer, I hope to be consistent. At least sometimes I'm different from the masses, and hopefully it hones in more of a focused decision for you on your purchases. And that's what I do. I seek out certain reviewers that obviously I agree with, and I agree with them, so I'm gonna make purchases based on that. So even if you disagree with me, at least I'm hopefully consistent, so if I don't like it, maybe you'll like it, right? So That's what I try to offer. But anyway, back to the dinner. We get an awesome oyster, prawn, lobster, uni tower, huge amounts of seafood, a little bit of spicy cocktail sauce, absolutely delicious. We've all had a beautiful seafood tower. And then we move on to a market salad, which is really nice. You have these beautiful greens on top, and then on the bottom, they have this more heartier kind of thing, so you get a little bright acidity, really nice green, earthy flavors, but then on the bottom, there's this creamy slaw, a little bit more hearty on the bottom, so really fun kind of way to play with the salad. And then there's this epois and caviar. So this is apparently Chang's favorite cheese. It's a soft rind cow's milk cheese, really creamy texture. You could literally smother it onto things. It's almost like a really thick kind of nacho cheese kind of texture, maybe a little bit, but really wonderful, you know, cow's milk flavor, a little bit of tang, a little bit of earth, a little bit of sweetness, and then smothered on with tons of Idaho caviar. So really decadent and delicious, delicious starter. And then we had the beverage director actually come in and offer us a sake tasting. So that's really fun. For me, I'm not too familiar with sake, but it's really fun to get into other fermented products. And we had 3 different sakes. And I mean, you know, as someone who, you know, thinks I have a subjectively taste palate, again, I think everybody's palate is objectively pretty good. Like you can taste things, but subjective is where you're able to explain what you're tasting. And that's really where strengths of palates come from. And I was pretty lost. Obviously, I could tell that the 3 were different, but you know, describing them was a little hard for me. I picked up on some of the tasting notes that the beverage director was talking about, but just really fun. And, you know, again, digging into different fermented products. This one had lactic acid in it. This one had some more phenolic notes that you'd get in beer as well. So really fun digging into that. So hopefully we explore some more sake in the future. And then also, mostly for the dinner, I was having Gamay from Beaujolais. So, you know, a lot of people are drinking these like California cabs or big, big, dense beer wines. And this wine was nice. It had a little bit of tannic structure, some like berry skins, a berry flavor, but then also this really wonderful kind of slate and minerality on the finish, medium, medium minus body. Just really nice kind of red wine. So Gamay, I will have to have more of that in the future. So drank that for most of the night. But then moving on, by the way, there's a lot of food. We're talking about some dishes that David Chang was testing on us, because obviously he's always looking into things and like, is anybody going to order that, or who's going to do this, or who's going to order that? And you know, he's at a point where I guess he can explore and just do things he wants to do. People order them, they order them. And so one of them is clam zuk, which is a traditional Chinese rice porridge. It can be pretty bland sometimes, but this was made with clam stock. And you know, obviously boosted up the flavors. You get some chewy, umami, dense shiitake mushrooms in there, and then loaded with tons of fried garlic and fried ginger. Obviously that stuff is delicious, but it really obviously offers a nice textural difference, but you know, with that kind of like sludgy kind of porridge kind of quality. But there's a lot of garlic in there, so very flavorful. And then they also put in tons of sesame oil, and he says that you can't put enough in there, and I agree with him because it was delicious. Then he did this traditional Korean blue crab kind of preparation, which again, he says, who orders that anyway? But pretty much they get crabs, cut them in half, and then they soak them in this kind of Korean red pepper, sweet, spicy kind of sauce, tons of raw garlic. So then you pretty much have a half crab and just suck into it, and it's spicy, it's sweet, and you get tons of bursts of just raw garlic flavor. Really delicious stuff, and he absolutely loves it. He thinks it's one of the most delicious things out there. Also with a a duck broth that, actually the duck broth comes in later, I'll explain that later, but also with a spicy crawfish boil. So whoever's had a crawfish boil, it's absolutely delicious, it's spicy, sucking the heads on the crawfish, delicious stuff. You gotta do it if you've never had crawfish boil before. Moving on, we had a duck broth. So, you know, some people really liked it because it's not really duck soup, it's duck broth. And it's familiar for me from growing up as a Chinese child, or in a Chinese family, that sometimes you don't have water with your meal, nor do you have soup. It's just broth. It's just, you know, like meat bones, and you cook it in some water, some veg, or maybe not even veg sometimes, but it's just a clear kind of broth. It's not really soup. There's nothing creamy about it. There's not much stuff in it. It's just soup or broth. And that's what this was, with a little bit of duck and some greens in there, but really nice stuff. And then he did a rotisserie duck, which is roasting in the open kitchen, as you can see, as we could see. And it's stuffed with sausage, a really nice duck. But then what I really liked was the kind of it's a traditional Chinese dish where you just get glutinous rice and you wrap it in lotus leaf and then you throw a bunch of stuff in it. This one had, I think, hearts and livers in it and some XO sauce, but just, he called it a dirty rice, but it's just a really flavorful rice dish. You know, it comes in this kind of like dark brown flavor, color, just a lot of intense flavors in this beautiful rice dish. Moving on, we had a prime rib sandwich. Yeah, again, talking about prime rib, classic dish, but not many people are doing it anymore. So we had this really thick cut bread, cut in triangles, and then just like this soft, succulent, fatty prime rib. You get some French's yellow mustard on there, you get some roasted tomato, and I wish I was, by the way, at this point, at the duck point, I was sick. There was so much food. Chang was not joking. He's like, hey, you guys better be prepared for a lot of food. There's only about 30 of us at that dinner. There's enough food for probably 60 to like 80 people. It was disgusting. I mean, I'm about like 2-3 hours from that dinner and I still feel a little sick and very full. Absolutely disgusting, but I wish I could have eaten more of those sandwiches. It was delicious. Then for dessert, we had kakigori, which is a Japanese shaved ice. Usually, I don't have a sweet tooth and I always turn down dessert. I mean, who wants, after really, especially after this meal, really heavy meal, who wants to eat like cake and ice cream and all these like dense, gross things? This one was actually really nice. It had a really thin sheet of cheesecake, but not a dense cream cheese one. It was really nice and fluffy and cake based. And then you have these like thinly shaved pieces of shaved ice, but also I believe they made it with like this tart yogurt kind of flavor. And so you get a little bit of sweet, you get a little bit of lactic acidity, you get the really crunchy, fresh, bright ice flavor. I mean, just eating, I don't know about you guys, but I just eat straight ice cubes sometimes and it's refreshing. I could see that being the end of the meal because you don't really want anything to hold you down, but you want something, you know, bright and cold. And so this really worked, and then you get some strawberries on there, so you get a little bit of texture difference of that kind of crunchy shaved ice and that soft cheesecake and some strawberries. It's just a really nice kind of dessert. I was surprised how much of that dessert I ate because it's just really refreshing. I wanted to keep digging into it. It has lactic acidity, it has, you know, just ice flavors, absolutely delicious. So that was great. And then leaving, this is a long meal. We're talking about almost 3 hours, over 3 hours for a meal. They offered us this huge, like, this is dumb, guys. So generous, this dumb takeaway bag. So, yeah, let's start digging into what's in this takeaway bag. Oh, yeah, awesome. So, again, water bottle from Yelp. Thank you so much. I can't get enough of those. I drink tons of water, so that's perfect. Oh, yes. These, I mean, I remember these. I love these so much. These are the Momofuku milk bar cookies. And, oh, he does such cool ones. Cornflake chocolate chip marshmallow cookie. Oh my God, the Momofuku cookies are so good. I don't know if you can order them online if you're not in New York. Please do. And my favorite, compost cookie. I mean, one year, I honed down a recipe that was so freaking good, the compost cookie. This one has like corn chips in it and I believe like coffee grounds and salt and caramel chips and chocolate chips and just all this beautiful textural difference, but also, all right, I'm not gonna be able to get this one out, but there you guys go. Compost cookie. And it's literally just like all your stuff you could throw in a cookie. There's pretzels in there. And, oh man, it's so, so good. It's one of my favorite cookies and really excited to dig back into that one. It's been a while since I've actually made the cookie myself. So cookies, awesome. From Momofuku Milk Bar, one of the dessert places that David Chang does. Then we got some Ssam sauce. So his, you know, branded Korean Ssam sauce. So really cool stuff. I'll have to try more of that. We got a Ssam sauce, like, you know, dispenser. So I'll actually use this a lot because I'm sure I'm gonna throw some stuff in there. Like right now I have some mayo in the fridge and some sriracha. And you know, if I do 50-50, that's probably gonna be amazing. So this squeeze bottle is gonna be really useful. Got some stickers, cool. I'll use these stickers. Got a sambar card. And this thing is heavy, by the way. So we're talking about all about eggs. So this is a book written by Rachel Kong. So I guess a cookbook. Oh, awesome. Just a cookbook about all kinds of egg recipes. Awesome pictures in there. So yeah, really exciting. Really nice. Quality feeling book too. Moving on, we have the Momofuku, David Chang and Peter Meehan recipe book. So really cool stuff, yeah. Awesome. Beautiful cookbook. My God, look at this. Oh, By the way, this was really heavy to carry home, but really nice stuff. Oh man, yeah, I mean, just beautiful stuff. And yeah, wow, fantastic. And then we get a few more things in here. We get Lucky Peach. So Lucky Peach is an awesome food magazine that he does. And oh my God, I mean, all of these, by the way, just feel really nice. They actually feel really nice quality. But I mean, I can't wait to dig into these. I mean, just so much content. Just beautiful magazine. Yeah, so I got 2 issues of that. And then just this awesome, beautiful tote. I mean, like, that's just a cool tote. The Lucky Peach logo is beautiful and gorgeous. So, wow, look at all this stuff. So, had an amazing night. Thank you so much to Yelp. Thank you so much to Ruggie. Thank you so much to David Chang for an amazing time. Thank you so much to the staff for such amazing service and the people who cooked the meal as well. The amazing people that I sat around, got the cool pals I got to make and got to chat with. So just an amazing time. Sorry for the really long video. Obviously, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Post in the comments below if you have any questions. Until next time, guys, cheers. Later.